So what I always give bad introductions, Krystal. Can you introduce yourself to everybody and say hi?
Sure. Well, I'm Krystal. I'm a vegan activist, like animal rights activist from
Mhm.
Brazil, from Rio, Rio de
Mm.
Janeiro.
So
Yeah.
is growing up in Rio, is that a thing that's normal for people to be like, I'm going to grow up in Rio and become vegan?
No,
So what happened to you? Did you have hippie parents? Were your parents just like,
no,
how did you,
no.
what happened?
I became vegan 12 years ago.
Okay.
So now veganism is a thing in Brazil, like in most of like the big cities. It's
Hmm.
something not that weird as it used to be when I was younger. But what happened is that I've always been very passionate about animals since I was born.
Yeah, I know. Well, because of course, because the Amazon, we know that a lot of that land is being raised to graze, right? Raised to graze. We tear it down for cows to be pastured. So
Yes.
how did you overcome it?
So what happened is that so I've always been very crazy about animals, but I used to love eating meat because I didn't know what meat was. I didn't have like the conscious of since I was very young that the meat was the animal and everything. I did, but when I turned around 11 years old, I started to realize that the meat came from an actual animal that was
Mm,
living and had to be killed, and that made that inside of me made me very like sad and feeling contradictions
yeah, you
within
felt a
me,
conflict. Yeah,
the conflict of loving animals and eating animals. I can
life
talk
is.
about veganism for hours and hours. And then when I realized, I got really sad, but I thought, well, there's nothing I can do because everyone I know eats meat, and everyone tells me that we need meat to be healthy. And
Mhm.
you realize that you don't need it, it's not good for your health, but then it's hard to get rid of that because your body is just used to that. And sometimes I would eat the meat, and the taste of the meat tasted like death. I don't know how to explain the
Mhm.
taste. I feel like a heavy thing, a heavy taste.
Mm.
And then when I was around 14, I discovered that some people were vegetarian and that some people didn't eat meat. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God. I was like, oh, I wanna be like that. I wanna be a vegetarian. But I
So you
didn't
did it.
know. Slow, slow, slow. No, it's a long path.
Yeah.
It's a long path. I was
Okay.
14 then. I became vegan with 10 years later. I thought I would never be able to go like vegetarian because I loved meat and I believed that I needed for my health. I did an exchange course when I was 23. I moved to Spain and
Yeah.
I wouldn't cook meat because I was disgusted by that. I didn't want to touch meat. So I started to
Mhm.
question for myself. And also, I had so much love inside of me to give to the animals because I was always crazy about them that I needed to be in touch with animals. So I started to Google places where I could be a volunteer for animals, like animal shelters. And so I'm telling you the full story
Yeah. All
here.
right. I
I'm
like
not
it.
skipping
Yeah.
any
Okay.
stages. I went to that lecture. One of them just said, like in the middle of the speech, he said, you cannot defend the animals from something that you do it yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
That moment of clarity.
exactly. And I went home vegetarian. I turned vegetarian at that exact moment. And I
Mm.
don't know. Should I tell how I went vegan then?
Yeah. I mean, that's.
So I after the lecture, I went there to speak to the teacher that was from my university,
Mhm.
and he told me that there was a group in my university that studied animal rights, and I didn't know about it. I joined this group. I just became aware of veganism through that group, but I thought it was too radical. I was like, oh no, there's not a problem to eat eggs and drink milk because nothing
Hurting.
happened. We're not
Yeah.
hurting them.
Mhm. Mhm.
But then one of my colleagues from that group, she sent me that speech from Gary Yourofsky, that
Okay.
famous one.
Mhm.
That watched it and I was like, I didn't know. no one told me about the dairy industry and the egg industry.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, the marketing was so strong that like the cows are free and the chickens are free and they do not get hurt. I didn't want to go vegan, but now I will have to go vegan because
Mhm.
if I stopped eating flesh because of the animals, it doesn't make sense to continue eating animal products that harm them as well.
So you went vegan, and now all of a sudden you're an activist too, because that's not normal. A lot of
No,
people
no,
go
no, no.
vegan and they.
And then I went vegan and I started to talk about veganism on my Facebook. And I took a picture of myself and I posted. It was in 2019. Something just came, like an insight came to me, like the thing you do the best is be the voice to the animals.
Mm,
So I
yes.
said, okay, that's what I have to do. I have to talk about veganism. I have to help people become vegan and try to get them to know what veganism is, like
Yeah.
without the stereotypes of veganism. And
Mm,
then I created, I already had an Instagram. So I focused on veganism. I deleted my personal account and just started to talk about veganism.
yeah.
I didn't know how I would do it, how I would make money out of it or anything. I didn't know what was going to happen,
Mhm.
but I knew I had to talk about veganism. And that's when I started most of my activism online. I
Yeah.
create content, I write, I'm writing a book. I'm translating a book of someone else, another vegan psychologist.
Why
I
that
do.
book, by the way? Why Vistopia? Because that's one of those books that most people, well, only vegans are going to read it. Why Vistopia? Why do you want to translate that one into Portuguese?
Because we
Mm,
don't talk about our suffering as vegan in a non-vegan world, and that's such a huge thing. I was starting to Google like anxiety, depression, feeling lost and sad because of being vegan. I
mm,
Googled it, and then I
you
found
found
the
that book.
word Vistopia
Yeah.
that Claire Mann from Australia, a vegan psychologist. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's
Mhm.
how I feel. And I started to read everything about it. For being vegan, I was excluded from friends' parties, from like
Mhm.
family gatherings, and I've been ridiculed and I've been called all the names you can think of. So
Mhm.
that's oppression for being vegan.
It's right. It's the systemic oppression that becomes apparent when you say that I don't want to take part in this anymore. And then you find that the people who are taking part in it, they don't like hearing that at all. They want you to be taking part. They want you to stop making waves, stop rocking the boat, stop
Exactly.
questioning your programming and
Because
march
when
like
you
everybody else.
question and you are different from them, they have to look at themselves and say, why is she different than me? So that
Mm,
means that I'm doing something wrong? No, that's impossible. I'm a good person. I would
yeah.
never do something wrong.
By the way, are you still kissing carnies? Or
I
you only
am.
No,
I am.
Krystal,
I know.
how?
But no, carnists that are open minded and want to go vegan,
Oh.
but they're not there yet.
Oh.
They're still eating meat, but they are, because they are with me, they're questioning and they're
Mm,
changing. I kiss carnists. I don't date them. Most
yeah.
of them, most of the people I met on Vegly, they became my friends. And that's
Mm.
amazing. I love having vegan friends.
I think apps like Vegly should be um, hopefully fighting for us and hopefully helping us out with this in this part because you want to be with people who are proud of who you are and people you can be
Exactly.
proud of and
And
just
feeling that you're a part of some
yeah.
group. When you go vegan, you have your groups like your friends, your family, your school, and your colleagues and your work. And
Mhm.
then you go vegan and you see everything differently and you don't feel a part of any group anymore. And that's very isolating. So we have to connect with other vegans. And how do we do that if we go out and we don't meet other vegans, because it's not that easy? We go on in this app vaguely, and
If you want to have a serious committed relationship with me, you're vegan. There's no way
I
around
know,
that. I've
I
been
feel
saying that.
that. I've been single for 5 years because yes, because I haven't found the person that has like all the qualities that I demand to get into
Mhm.
a relationship
Yeah.
with, because I'm not getting into a relationship with someone that doesn't feel that the animals have value just as human beings.
Mm.
I'm not. And I'm not going to a relationship with a person that thinks that a woman has less value than a man,
Well,
and that
exactly.
a black person has less value than a white person, and all
Right.
the
I
oppressions. And
wouldn't
it's
kiss a
not
racist
easy.
either. I wouldn't
It's
kiss
not
a
easy.
racist. So are you still on Vegley? You still meeting
I'm
people?
still on Vegley, yes.
Yeah.
I'm very picky, but I have to be because I'm very like wonderful person, and I want to be with a wonderful person too.
The life is too short to spend it with a carny.
Yeah, with
I
the carney, I love
yeah.
that. Let me write that down. Carney.
Yeah, I usually when I'm home, because I'm in Florida right now, but when I'm home I have a cup that says Carney Tears because I drink Carney Tears for
Carney
breakfast every
tears.
morning.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's amazing. People ask, "Oh, what are your hopes for the future?" And I say, "Well, I want to be optimistic, but like we're not done with racism yet, and sexism and homophobia and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Like we're at the very beginning of the animal fight, like animal rights fight. So I'm doing the best I can, but we are
And it's
at the very beginning."
all of those are related to animal rights. And so when I think about how if without animal rights as part of the discussion about how we fight oppression, then we're not fighting oppression.
We're not.
Never kissed a vegan. You're not alone. Never kissed a vegan.
It's hard
Sounds like
because
a
the
romantic
person has to be
comedy.
vegan, and then you have to like the person, and you have to have chemistry and everything. Because I'm not going to kiss someone just to kiss.
Krystal, what's next for you, and where can people find you?
So right now I'm translating Dystopia to Portuguese,
Mhm.
and after that I will go back to my book. It's called something like the Vegan Manual, where I talk about everything I know. I started to write it to help people go vegan, but I have so much experience. It's good even for the most experienced vegans. And I talk about a lot of topics. I created a dictionary that has like over 200 words that relates to the vegan world. I've been working on it for 3 years.
Okay.
So I will get back to my book after I finish translating Dystopia. And this Sunday, we will do here in Brazil, in different cities, a protest against live export in Brazil. So that's something nice that is happening here in Brazil. I want to tell everyone that's here right now that you ruined my profile with that bunny thing.
Everybody knows the bunny thing. That's why they're here. They love seeing people with the blue
No,
bunny. The thumbnail's beautiful.
it's not. He put me on a bunny thing, but
You
my
look.
hair was like that. But the original photo doesn't have this side hair like that. And you managed to ruin my best picture.
Now they could tell you're vegan.
I didn't know about this bunny blue thing vegan stuff.
Rabbits are vegan.
Yes.
And like almost always they're considered like vegan and smart and clever and a little bit sexual too. So I think it's a great symbol for veganism. It's also the symbol for PETA, the largest animal rights group. I've always been very attached to rabbits.
Do you have a rabbit tattoo? Because I have a cow tattoo. Do you want to see it?
You have a cow tattoo?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great tattoo. Wow.
Tattoos.
And then I have my rabbit.
Oh, so you have a rabbit tattoo.
Tattoo was from actually it was from this guy, Somos Lobos. That's him right there. He's got a
Like The Simpsons.
that's the guy that tattooed me in Denver, and he's 100% vegan. Everything's vegan, certified.
Sure.
Even like the razor that he uses he's like
Uh-huh.
super hardcore.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's how it should be, right? If you're a vegan, working as a vegan, you have to go after the materials that you can that are vegan. You have to make your professional your activism as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's the way to go. For being vegan, I was excluded from friends' parties, from like family gatherings, and I've been ridiculed and I've been called all the names you can think of. So that's oppression for being vegan.
It's right. It's the systemic oppression that becomes apparent when you say that I don't want to take part in this anymore. And then you find that the people who are taking part in it, they don't like hearing that at all. They want you to be taking part. They want you to stop making waves, stop rocking the boat, stop
Exactly.
questioning your programming and march
Because when
like
you
everybody else.
question and you are different from them, they have to look at themselves and say, why is she different than me? So that
Mm.
means that I'm doing something wrong? No, that's impossible. I'm a good person. I would
Yeah.
never do something wrong. And
Hmm.
to meet some cool people that might turn vegan because they are good-hearted people, and being around them influences them. So I cannot pull away because I'm not giving them a chance to know veganism if I do that. And it's hard for me. It's very hard. But I do that for the animals as well. Not only for my mental health, to be around people socializing, but it's
Hmm.
hard to see them eating meat. It's very hard. But also to give them a chance to look to something different. For example, my friend, we were all like together having lunch together, and
Hmm.
her family was there, and everyone was eating meat. Around there were 15 people, and I was the only one not eating meat. And everyone started to talk about it, and I was like, no, I don't eat meat because I think it's wrong. I see all of you guys eating steaks on your plates, that make me sad, but I don't say
Mm.
anything because I don't think it's the proper moment. And
Yeah.
then they started to ask, but how do you get your protein? And then I said, oh, vegetables have protein as well, didn't you know?
Mm.
So I give them a chance to get in touch with something different. If I'm not there, they would all be eating steaks and they would not question, you know? So I have to put
Yeah.
myself in those spaces for the animals as well. And I can do that. I can
Mm.
handle that. And then okay, let's do it. Yeah.
Let's you put yourself into the you're Daniel with the lions, so to speak.
Yes.
Yes. Let me ask you. So now, when you're still doing activism, what is the activism world like out there in Brazil? Do you do protests and things? Is that okay in your country? I mean, do cops come and crack you down?
It's very small. It's
Mm.
not like, so it's very few people. For example, we are in this WhatsApp group
Hmm.
for the protest on Sunday, and we only have 44 people. We are getting together each time we're more together. We're
Yeah.
getting united for the animals. We don't get repression for the of the cops yet. What
Mm.
happens in Brazil is that if you protest against the government and you protest against laws regarding like something like money involved, like for example,
Right.
teachers protesting for better salaries, they get hit by the cops. That's crazy, but they do. But about animal rights, not that much. It's not like in other countries that activists get go to jail and they get labeled as terrorists. Not yet, at least.
Mm.
But it's all very small in Brazil. Like, but we are getting better and we are getting stronger. But the thing is that in Brazil, vegans are very divided between like political vegans and liberal
Oh,
vegans,
yeah. I
and
mean, the
all
infighting
that
is
thing.
ridiculous. Yeah,
It's
it's
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And leftists.
yeah, leftists and
I'm leftist, but like some people are very extreme to the point that they don't consider other people vegan because they will buy something from a company that is not vegan, but also these companies are putting vegan products in
yeah. But
cities
how
that don't have any vegan products, you know.
are there any vegan celebrities? Do we have any vegan Brazilian celebrities?
We do have, but they are not known outside Brazil.
Uh,
But in Brazil, we have some celebrities. Like one of the most famous women in Brazil is vegan. She's called Xuxa.
oh.
She had like children shows, and I don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
say that. She's very influential here, and she's
Shusha.
vegan. Xuxa, Xuxa.
Okay. Okay. Let's see.
She's a TV presenter. Yes, that's her.
And she's vegan.
She's vegan. She's very, 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 very famous in Brazil. So she went vegan not too long ago. She has always been an animal lover, but she went vegan around, I don't know, 6 years ago. And she's doing a lot of activism online. She's not afraid to tell the things we need to tell people. And she gets a lot of hate for that too. But she's brave.
They do these kids shows, and then they start thinking about how to teach kindness and compassion and what children want, right? What children need to learn. How do you teach children kindness and compassion if you're slaughtering an animal? Part of a campaign to stop. You've heard of Big Bird. Do you have Big Bird down there, like
No.
Sesame Street? Hold on, let's see if you know.
Sesame?
Yeah, it has usually it's a different name in different countries. Sesame Street. Do you know this guy?
Uh, I know, but we don't watch that in Brazil.
You've seen this bird then.
Yeah,
So
I've seen it.
he's got thousands of feathers on him, all from dead animals. Those are
Oh
real
no.
feathers. These kid shows, they're supposed to be teaching compassion and kindness, and they're using dead animals to do it, and it's just not cool. It's so disgusting. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're trying to change some stuff
In
up.
Brazil, also, we used to use for carnival on the carnival parade. The costumes used to be made of animal
Feathers.
feathers, and
Hmm.
this changed. Thankfully, we don't use it anymore.
Really?
Well, at least in Rio, because we have other states that do their parade, but in Rio we don't use that anymore.
Well, how did that happen?
But I don't know who actually went there and inside the schools and shook them. I don't know who
Hmm.
did that. What group of activists did that? But we used to talk. I used to comment online when there was carnival. I used to talk. It's an absurd.
Change. That's
Somebody was doing it.
amazing.
Somebody was doing it.
That's wonderful. I love
They
that
wouldn't change for like
for no
nothing.
reason.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for no
yeah.
reason. They are not vegan. Like people that manage the carnival, most of them for sure, like 99.9%, they are not vegan for
So it's
sure.
kind of policy now that they don't use feathers, huh, in the carnival parade.
They use, but they're synthetic.
Oh,
Synthetic
they use synthetic
feathers.
feathers now.
Yes.
Amazing. I want to say thank you, Krystal. It's been a fascinating conversation with you. I really appreciate you coming by. Maybe you can come by again sometime. What do you say? It wasn't
Of
so bad, was it?
course, I loved. No,
Yeah,
you're a good American. I
I'm
like
a
you.
good American.
Yes.
One of the good ones.
You're the
Well,
good ones.
I do appreciate everything that you showing up and hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you get to kiss more vegans
Me
and
too.
not just blowing kisses. So yeah, a real ones out there. Maybe Vegly can help you. We'll see. I love it. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much.
Bye, guys.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
so
Krystal.
much.